Oh.
He told us he was coming.
Yeah, he told us he was coming. Okay. Lora Thompson.
I'm sorry, I'm Lora.
Well, you have a case where your two of your incumbents are not here tonight.
We can have the mayor fill in.
No.
No. No, yeah, but you're not on the ballot, so we want to keep it clear. Oh, you're on the ballot, but no one's running against you. So you must be Mr. Ward, Patrick Ward.
That wasn't the introduction, that was just a recognition.
An introduction and recognition. So Mayor Patrick Ward has no one running against him. Would you like to tell, how long have you been mayor?
I've been mayor for the past 4 years. Prior to that, I was on city council for 22 years. And prior to that, I was a very active and involved citizen in our community's affairs.
Well, then maybe you can help out during some of the questioning if you'd like. You might as well.
Okay.
Okay, here we have, so Charles Lopresti, Joseph Marco could not be here tonight. We knew about Mr. Mr. Marco, and I have a statement from him. I do not know what happened. Do you know what happened to Mr. Lopresti?
He's working.
Oh, big deal. Actually, Mr. Marco had the same problem. He was called to work. I want to thank, this is Mr. Marco's statement, and he has been on City Council for 20 years? Yeah. I want to thank the League. Well, I can skip that part. Yes, you're welcome. As your council representative for our city, it has been a pleasure representing our residents for the past 20 years. As your council representative, my decision-making is based on one criterion: what is best for our city and our residents. My decision to run for another term is based on just that. I want to serve our residents for another 4 years and provide them with an experienced council representative. Since I was first elected to council, I have served on all committees, and I have been chairman of most, if not all, of the council committees. I've served as vice mayor and president of council for a number of terms. In June of 2003, I was appointed as interim mayor for the remainder of the mayoral term. I have also served as the representative to the Planning Commission and to the Architectural Board of Review. In addition, I have served on a Home Days Committee, Cell PTA, Lyndhurst Dads Club, and other community-based organizations. We have a few challenges for our city. Some are ongoing, like budgeting our funds, so we do not put the financial health of the city at risk and still provide a high level of city services. Yearly, council looks at the budget to find where we can get the most bang for our buck. It's a long process that changes the proposed budget several times before its final approval. Other budgetary challenges involve reviewing a special capital item like our Lyndhurst pool, spray, or our new fire station. Either way, experience has helped me to make the best decision for the residents of our city. We currently are facing a possibility that the Cleveland Clinic property will have new ownership. Having been part of the Legacy Village development and other smaller projects, I will draw on that experience so we can determine the best use for that property. While experience is not a qualification to be on council, it is critical to making decisions about the current and future needs of our community. I thank you all for your support over the past 20 years. I appreciate all of you who have contacted me to voice all your concerns about our city. I again ask for your support. Now, Mr. Marco gave me this, but he has not completed the questionnaire at Vote 411. All the candidates received a letter from the League, an email asking them to participate in our online voters guide, vote411.org. I can always send it again, Mr. Mayor, if Mr. Lopresti has completed that, but Mr. Marco has not. And you did. And you did, yes. And Mr. Veras did. So let me introduce the candidates. As you know, probably, Mr. Lopresti has been on council. Sorry. Mr. Price has been on council for 6 years. And then we have two challengers over here, Ms. Thompson, Lora Thompson, and Dale Veras.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have to work on that one.
It's quite all right.
I'm going to ask the candidates to give a 2-minute introduction of themselves, each of them. Do I have timers? Yes. And so you can look at the women over there. They'll hold up a card when you have so much time left, just to give you a warning. So 2-minute introductions for each of you, and then we'll take questions from the audience. We're just going to use voice questions. Is that right? We're not taking questions on cards tonight? That's fine. You can just ask your questions. So, Mr. Price, why don't you start us off? You can stand. You've got a mic.
Well, I'd rather stand.
Well, okay, for this one. This one you can go.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening. I'm Councilman Jeff Price, and I'm a candidate for re-election as councilman at large for the city of Lyndhurst. I have a good amount of experience in local government, having served as a councilman in Lexington, Ohio for 6 years before moving to Lyndhurst, where I'm completing my 6 years serving our community as councilman. As a member of council, I chair the Public Lands and Building Committee and a member of Finance Committee, and have been co-chair the Lyndhurst Home Day Committee for years. I have seen many of you as I volunteer at our city events, including our summer concerts in the park series, National Night Out, Shredding Days, Halloween Party, and more. After our recent storm, I was at the community center on Saturday and Sunday, working side by side with our neighbors, preparing, serving food, and providing comfort to our neighbors impacted by the storm. I truly care about our community of neighbors and work daily to make it the best it can be. I see my job as your councilman to be responsive to you and our neighbors. When I am called, I work immediately to address concerns brought to my attention and familiar with the contact the appropriate department or agency on the residents' behalf to address their issues. I bring any city concerns to our mayor and my council colleagues for discussion and resolution. I'm a responsible steward of our taxpayer dollars. We've all heard that our taxes are high. It is important to remember that the city receives only 12 cents of every property tax dollar collected, and yet we provide a very high level of public services, including police, fire, trash collection, building inspections, maintenance, streets, tree lawns, while keeping our city in excellent fiscal condition. South Euclid Lyndhurst schools are an integral part of the community. Once a member of our school board reports at our city council meetings to keep us informed, which is at our invitation. As a council, we support the efforts of our school by understanding the school superintendent and school board are the ones who are ultimately responsible.
You can fill in the rest.
No, let me just finish. I've got 20 seconds left.
20 seconds?
My service to our community was a product of being engaged and involved, not just diligently attending council meetings as an interested resident, but in our community, working side by side with our neighbors. That gave me insight into our city works, most importantly, what residents need and care about. I am involved and experienced member of your city council, an active member of our community of neighbors. I'd appreciate your vote on November 5th. Thank you.
Would you like to stand here too?
Sure, thank you. Thank you all for coming. Good evening. My name is Lora Thompson. I'm running for Lyndhurst City Council at large seat as well. I'd like to first talk to you about my platform issues. I want you to know ahead of time, though, I am an independent thinker, and if you elect me, you'll be happy you did, because I don't follow the leader. I follow what the residents want. My major platform issues include meeting the needs of our senior citizens so they may thrive in their homes. I will support our South Euclid School District so that it might reach a level of excellence, thereby encouraging our families to stay in Lyndhurst and new families to relocate here. I will help to decrease the level of our city's vacant houses and empty rental homes by better promoting why our community is a great place to live, work, play, and shop. My qualifications are the following. I am a lifelong Democrat, unlike any of my other opponents. I also have served as an executive committee member of the Cuyahoga County Democratic Party between the years of 2015 to 2019. From 2010 to currently, I serve as the president of MOCA Party. It's a movement that promotes local, state, and federal political awareness, civility, voter education, voter registration, and social justice. You can find us on Facebook. I've also served as your city leader, Democratic city leader, between the years of 2017 through 2019. And I've served as a Central Committee member from 2017 through 2019. I'm the immediate past president of the Lyndhurst Democratic Club and the owner of my own company, LMT Productions, a marketing and public relations firm. I've also served as a board member on the Hillcrest YMCA. I've lived over 20 years in the South Euclid-Lyndhurst School District and 8 years in the city of Lyndhurst. I have been endorsed by the Cuyahoga County Democratic Party, State Rep. Phil Robinson Jr., Cuyahoga County Councilwoman Sunny Simon, and the Cuyahoga Democratic Women's Caucus. Thank you.
Just a note that this is a nonpartisan election. There are no party markers on your ballot. I just want you to be aware of that. Okay, Mr. Veras.
Good evening to everybody. My name is Dale Veras, and I am running for City Council at large as well. I don't really have a prepared statement for this evening. I will tell you that I'm a long-term homeowner and resident of Lyndhurst. I've been here 20 years. I raised my family, my daughter and my son here. So we have been to Lyndhurst, been committed for the dedicated to this city for quite some time. When I started running 2 years ago, my platform really started out by, we pay high taxes, if you haven't heard that before. And the question was, do we get the biggest bang for our buck? That was one of the bottom line parts of my platform. But over the last, particularly I'd say 3 to 4 months, I've changed my thinking about what are some of the critical, not challenges, but opportunities. To me, day by day, Lyndhurst is changing bit by bit. And 10 years from now, we're going to wake up one day and we're going to find a Lyndhurst that's vastly different from the Lyndhurst we see today. And to me, we are at a crossroads. We're not at a dead end. We're not at a cliff. And the decisions we make going forward here is really going to be crucial to the Lyndhurst of 2040. I can go on to tell you that I have a long professional background. I have made a huge amount of impact in the businesses that I've run. I'm not sure that anybody else can say that they've helped save a company $50 million. But that's not what I'm running on. I'm running on the fact that I bring more than just one thing to the table. But the main thing that I think I'm bringing is, what does the Lyndhurst of tomorrow really look like? Because I'll tell you, one of the critical things here for us is many of us are homeowners. And besides the fact that we want to have a good safety situation, we want to have a good school district and so forth, homeowners have lost property appraisal valuation over the last 10 years compared to inflation. And we have to start thinking about where Lyndhurst of tomorrow is going to be. Thank you. And again, my name is Dale Veers. I look for your support, hopefully, on November 5th. Thank you.
That's fine. I've been told that we'd prefer to get written questions. There's somebody with, one of the women will be walking around with some cards if you'd like to ask questions that way. Are there any, I wanted to also explain that this year you elect at-large council representatives, and 2 years the ward council members will be elected. Are there any of those here tonight? So you are, just introduce yourself.
I'm Joe Gambatese. I am Ward Councilman 2 in Lyndhurst, and I've been on council for 16 years, so it'll be 18.
Oh.
Thank you.
Is there no other board reps here today? Okay, that's fine. I want to be sure to let the voters know this. Now, the first question we received, and it's from a student, probably one here at the high school. Why don't I start with you, Mr. Price? What would you like to achieve, for you it would be in this coming term on City Council? And you've got a mic right here.
So what I would like to achieve, really keep the city running on an even keel as it is doing now. Our focus really is economic development. We have the clinic property up for sale. That property alone helping us keep the strong tax base that we get from income taxes will benefit the city greatly moving into the future. We have a nursing home on Ray Road that'll come online next year and provide the city income tax. So with a strong income tax base, that will maintain our city government and keep us moving forward.
Thank you. What is your income tax rate here? I knew the mayor would know. 2%?
2%.
Okay.
With a 0.5%.
With a 0.5% credit
Yes.
back? Okay, thank you. Ms. Thompson, I'm going to make, everybody gets 1 minute to answer a question, but there is no question that will just be, unless there's something particular you want to ask the incumbent, we'll let every candidate answer any question he or she wishes to answer. So is there something you two especially would like to achieve as a new member of City Council?
Can you read the question one more time?
Yeah, it was a very short question. What do you want to achieve? I added during your term on City Council.
Actually, there are two main things, and I kind of covered them a little bit in my platform issues. One is to meet the needs of our senior citizens so they may thrive in their homes. There's not enough written communication that goes out to our senior citizens. Unfortunately, those that deal with the senior citizens are giving them information through the internet. Many senior citizens are not on the internet. We need to be giving them written correspondence about what services are available in Lyndhurst. Also, I want to support our school district. They definitely need City Council support as well as the mayor's support, and not just lip service. We need to be a true partner with South Euclid Lyndhurst School District so they may thrive and so they may excel, and that's really, really important. Unfortunately, we're losing a lot of families because of the school ratings recently, and for the last few years, families don't want to move here because of the school ratings we've been receiving. I think the city can do a better job with the school board.
Mr. Veras.
You can call me Dale.
Dale, that might be easier.
So my platform has a number of different things, and so my priorities, what would I try to accomplish if I were on City Council? Well, I'm a big believer in performance, not politics. So I really do believe that we have to be a results-driven, a fact-based, high-performing government. Again, even though I believe taxes, we pay high taxes, and do we really know if we get the best bang for our buck? And I don't believe we do. I think we need to establish the blueprint. You know, what do we want to be? We want to find what is the premier city of the future where people really want to live, work, and stay. And I do think we have to start thinking about what does the Lyndhurst of 2040 really look like. Some of us may actually still be here at that point. And to me, I have this dream of where we see a future of Lyndhurst where we actually have lower taxes, higher level of city services, and soaring residential customer satisfaction rates. We need to be the best city.
Well, I'm gonna just have you expand on that because we've gotten a few questions about what do you see in the future? What is it that concerns you? What could you do about it? I mean, people are wondering, what does he think? What's going to happen in 20 years? Or what would you like to see happen? Or what are you afraid to see happen?
What's a great question. I love it. So, Lyndhurst peaked out in their population in 1970 at about 19,400, 19,500 people. Since that point, our population has declined 32%. Each and every year, our population has gone down. By comparison, to get a frame of reference, the rest of the United States went up 61%. We lost 32%, they went up 61%. Now, even the state of Ohio actually increased its population by 10%. To me, we are losing residents, we're losing our tax bases, and our tax basis is actually, in terms of homeowners and the valuation of our properties, really has been flat. We've lost to inflation. So to me, there is some fundamental underpinning issues here we are not addressing. And it's showing up that the fact that people are not coming to live in Lyndhurst.
I think we'll continue on that subject, through the hour. Would you like to talk about that?
I would like to answer that.
Yeah, too. You bet. I'll be
So-
answering. Well, we'll let Ms. Thompson do it, and then I'll come back to you.
Yeah, he needs to be.
One of the platform issues that I mentioned is that I believe our city needs to do a better job promoting why our community is a great place to live, work, play, and shop. Even in the Sun newspaper, you rarely read about Lyndhurst. We should be promoting the good that we're doing in Lyndhurst and do a better job of that, promoting the good. Also, this is a great place to live, work, play, and shop, like I said. However, we don't do a good job promoting our city to people who live outside of our city. Shaker Heights, for example, has their newsletter in Lyndhurst dentist office or South Euclid dentist office. We should be doing the same thing. We have some beautiful homes here. We have some beautiful residents here. It's a great place, like I said, to live, work, play, and shop. I am a professional in marketing and public relations. That's what I do, and that's what I do best. And I think I can help bring new residents to Lyndhurst.
Okay, Mr. Price, would you like to talk about the future you see?
Absolutely. So the future I see in Lyndhurst, as many of you know, we're in a transition phase. What do I mean by that? We have an aging population in Lyndhurst. What I can tell you is that is probably attributes to some of the decline as those children have possibly moved away. Some of those are moving back in. So as our elderly transition out of the city, either into a different living facility, those homes are being backfilled by younger families. Whether or not they go to our schools, that's a different concern. But our city, if you look around, is being populated by younger people taking an active interest in the city, both in community events and involvement.
Thank you. The school district, now I know you are not on the Board of Education, you're not running for the Board of Education. There's a lot of discussion in other communities about how a city can work more closely with a school district. And it's a little different here because you have two different communities who have the same school district. So could you talk a little bit about what impact the city could have on the school district or how you might work together?
We absolutely champion the schools. Like I said in my opening remarks, they come, they address us as a council, and we participate with them. Our mayor is involved, attends meetings with them. We do school activities with them. We just did the walk as council from, the walk to school from Brainerd Park to Sunview. So as an entity, council, and city, there's PTA, parents are involved. We represent that. We live in the community. We provide our tax dollars to the schools. Like 63 cents of every dollar goes to support the schools. So they're an integral part of our community, and we are heavily involved. And we take an active interest in when we see the scoring and what the state's involvement is in that and how they act on that.
Ms. Thompson, would you like to speak about the school relationship with the cities?
Definitely. Again, I think we need to be a strong partner with the school district. There are many things we can do beyond just going to kindergarten classes or first grade classes, reading books to children, and hearing a report from the PTA. To be a partner, I think we need to actively be involved. For example, one idea that I have is there are a lot of parents and families who don't even have a book in their home to read to their child. One thing we could do is partner with the business sector to make sure every child's home has a book so they can start their own library. I did that for my daughter. By the time she was in first grade, she had about 50 books in her little library at home. That's important, and we can partner with the business community to help fund that. Also, to get our test grades up, and I don't mean just the state testing, just general testing in the schools. We can tutor in the schools. We can be mentors to these children. And a lot of them don't have mentors, and they need it.
Dale.
My professional background, I'm a business strategist. 39 years of career doing that. And that experience and expertise has taught me to look at things as they are, the facts, and do it from the factual viewpoint. And so I think we have to take a look at what the facts are here. The facts are, at least according to the Cleveland Magazine's ratings of the suburbs this past June, our school district, and I wish I could say otherwise, was rated 46th out of 57 school districts. I wish I could say that we were number one, because that is so foundational to what is going to draw people into Lyndhurst here. Not just to build up a little equity in the house so they move out to another school district later on. So to me, having done benchmarking for so many years, I think that this is about a time that we really need to take a look at maybe a white piece of paper, a blank sheet of paper, and start from scratch and go forward from there.
Let's move on to taxes. Would you like to explain, Mr. Price, exactly where the tax money goes?
Absolutely. Again, back to my opening remarks. The city of Lyndhurst, out of every dollar we take in of taxes, 12 cents stays, out of the property taxes, stays with the city for services. So we support not only fire, service, building department, the programs we do, the tree lawns, our streets, and partially fund our sidewalk program. So we have to be stewards of that money diligently. We review that every single year to stay in line and build a reserve as well to protect our city for financial challenges that may or may not arise.
Now, you're talking now about property taxes. And the income tax goes to
Our general fund.
the general fund to operate the city.
Correct.
Now, do you have a levy on the ballot No levy at all.
We do not have any of those.
Okay, well, taxes will not go up this year. Would you like to talk about taxes? You mentioned that, I'm not sure, I know you, Dale, mentioned that you think they're too high. Are you talking about property taxes, most of which goes to the school system?
Well, I think if you want to let Laura comment first, and then can I have another?
Yeah,
Okay,
that's the whole idea. Okay.
Go ahead, Laura.
For starters, Cleveland Clinic had the location, or still currently has the location on Richmond Road, and they did not pay property taxes as a hospital. So it's my hope that we bring businesses to that location and other locations in the city that will pay property taxes as well as us receiving income tax from those employees. I think that's critical that we hopefully find a business to sit on that beautiful space in Lyndhurst on Richmond, and that will help us with our property taxes as well as income tax base.
So I think one of the questions that we're really talking about here is Lyndhurst's population has been declining, and basically the valuation for our home, the median sales prices for our home, it's a market indicator, has been basically flat, and we're losing ground to inflation if you take a look at it from that perspective. So there's a couple things that are affecting that. Those are more of the results. That's not really the underpinning problem. The underpinning problem is we do have high taxes. And I've heard discussion that we partner well with other cities, but do we really look at what the opportunities are to partner more effectively with other places? Would there be any possibility that we say, instead of getting $39 million of taxes that we spend, would we be able to do $30 million? And would we still be able to keep our services at the same level and still have soaring customer satisfaction rate? To me, I've done business strategy for such a long time. I know that there are thousands of ways to get to this type of solution.
Okay. All right, just for now, we're going to jump to a couple other subjects. Deer running through your yards, eating your flowers. Deer? Do you have not? Never seen them anywhere? I don't know. I don't know what you do in Lyndhurst about the deer population, if you do anything. Mr. Price, do you have an opinion on this, or can you tell us, Mayor, what is now being done, if anything?
I think we should turn that over to the mayor. It's not an individual one of us on council.
Well, it may not be, but I know
We have a deer
in.
program.
Okay, then if you know it, let him talk about it. Tell us what it is.
I'll defer to the mayor on consistent what ODNR has allowed us to do from the
We have
deer
a
program.
wildlife management program.
Can everybody hear the mayor?
We have a wildlife management program. The Division of Wildlife has granted the city a permit, which they have granted us for the past 4 years permit to conduct wildlife management, and we
In what season are they out there? Now, fall.
they've been
out. Do you have any opinion on this subject? Go ahead.
I actually grew up watching Disney and Bambi. Okay, so I have mixed emotions about this. Yes, we're overpopulated with deer, and I think there needs to be a more sensible solution. It's my understanding that our Cuyahoga County Councilwoman came to the city and asked to be part of a consortium of a lot of different cities to help develop a plan regionally to help control our deer population. I would hope moving forward we do that and we come together and do the best practices available.
I know this is a hot topic in a lot of communities. Dale, do you have any comment at all? Okay,
Yes,
go
yes.
for it.
So Monday evening, this is Wednesday, I think, right? Monday evening, about 12:30 in the morning, I got an email from a resident here in Lyndhurst who had seen my literature come out and said, Dale, like what you're standing for and so forth, but I have just 2 questions for you. One of which was, of course, what's your opinion on the seniors here? Since I'm a senior, I think I support whatever we can do to help that. But the second question was, as I think Lora was alluding to, is the deer. It's the most common question I got. And this particular lady said, I don't want to see Lyndhurst turned into a killing field. It took me about an hour and a half to write a response to her the following night, to where I said, there's a wide spectrum of people's belief on this. No kill, kill them all. But the vast majority of the people are really basically middle of the road to me, and they want to have a humane calling of the deer. That's what I answered, if I may just complete this thought. I answered that knowing that this particular lady had said to me very clearly in her email she didn't want to see the deer killed. And I said to her, I know that this is not the answer you wanted me to give you, but I'm going to just be honest and say I'm in the middle, and I believe in the humane calling of the deer. I got a nice email the next day saying, I appreciate your thoughts on this, and I will be supporting you, but I would like you to look into what they do in Canada with the deer. I have yet to do that.
Okay. You know what? Why don't you just save that for when we break up, okay? Because it's one of those topics that tears people apart.
There has to be an understanding that, it's the humane thing to do is have a ban.
Yeah, well, I understand. Okay. Dale, this is directed to you in particular, and I'm not sure, I don't know who is sending the question up, but you stated Lyndhurst resident homeowners have lost value, yet all reports have shown, whatever this person has seen, that Lyndhurst values have tracked higher than neighboring communities. So on what is your statement based?
The facts, actually. So each year, Cleveland Magazine puts out their ratings, Cleveland suburbs, and actually they take their market indicators directly from, I believe, the fiscal officer. So in other words, each year...
You mean the county fiscal officer?
Right, the Cuyahoga County Fiscal Office is where they get their data.
This is Lyndhurst City Council if you want to come in and listen to the candidates. Sorry.
So anyway, so the source is actually the county level thing, and it's the actual sales that take place within a year. And one of the quick ways that they try to do it is say, here's the range of the prices of sold houses this past year, and they look at the median to say half the prices are higher, half the prices are lower. And they do that year after year after year to get consistency. So in 2009, the actual median sales price for Lyndhurst for a home was $144,000. In 2018, it was $143,900. So we lost $100. However, inflation was up 17% by that time.
Okay, I'm going to ask Mr. Price. I'm going to jump over here so he can talk about the value of the property and what's going on in the last 10 years.
Here's how I see the challenge with value of property. If we have aged homes that have not been updated, those houses, when they do come on the market for resale, will not be in an attainable value, moving up market, meeting new statistic benchmarks. So if you have a home that you've lived in for 40 years, you're going to put it on the market, you've updated kitchen, bathrooms, and those things. Homes are selling very rapidly in the city, especially for those that are updated with enhanced home values.
Ms. Thompson, would you like to talk about that at all? The home values and property values?
I think the property values have been pretty flat, and I could say on my street, a house remained vacant vacant for 8 years, up until about 2 months ago. So I don't know what it sold for, I'm not sure, but again, we need to do a better job attracting people to our community to live here. We have a lot of vacant properties. We're not doing a good job promoting our city to outside communities.
Can I?
You know what, I have one problem. I'm getting questions directed to the school board. These are not candidates for the school board. I did, offer one question about working with the schools by both communities, but I'm going to save those questions for the school board candidates who will be in here at 8 o'clock. Okay, I do have a question about safety services. Do you anticipate increased, Ms. Thompson has talked about a growing senior population. You could address this first. Are you concerned about an increase in the cost of safety services here? Not just fire, but EMT, transporting people to the hospital. What do you see as the future in that? Are there going to be greater need for that?
I'm not sure what the predictions are in terms of safety levels. Of course, I want to make sure we're doing everything possible to keep our citizens safe, and that's from A to Z, making sure we have the transportation to get them to the hospitals quickly. We want to make sure the police can get to them quickly. We want to make sure the fire department can get to them quickly. And just on a personal note, we also need to curtail theft, and that includes theft of my signs, my yard signs. About 10 of them have disappeared in about the last 5 days.
Have the other two of you had that problem? Or do you have yard signs?
We have yards.
But yours have been safe? Not, or you don't know?
A few years back, I believe.
I never knew about local signs being stolen. Presidential, yeah, but local?
I haven't seen that this year, but 2 years ago, I believe that I had some signs that were manhandled.
Manhandled, okay.
So I'd like to talk about our services.
Yes, please,
So
safety services.
So what's very important, and we talk and we know we have an aging community, but we also have, which our fire department, if you're over 65 years old, they'll come out, inspect your home, make sure you have working fire and smoke detectors in your home. So they'll make sure your home is safe. We talk about safety and services. If you do not, our fire department will install those for you. So we have these programs. We have a fully staffed police department. We have a fully staffed fire department. We also have a non-emergency number as well. So if you see something, say something. There's only so many people on a shift per day. We have how many residents that live at home, work at home, see something, say something. It will keep the full city safe.
Thank you. Dale.
Okay. Could you read the question again, please?
Well, actually, the question was about medical transport costs. So I expanded that to relate to all safety services in the city, which would include fire, EMT. I mean, do you anticipate a growth in that, the cost of those services?
I'm not sure I can exactly address that because I thought it had something to do with the senior. Did I misunderstand your question? I thought you mentioned something about senior.
What I did is typically, senior citizens use the service, the EMT services more often, not fire, not police necessarily.
I think I want to make 2 points here. Point number one is in talking, and when you gather petition signatures, you talk to lots of people. I think I talked to 300-400 people. I really don't even know, and that was just this time around. And largely speaking, everybody says services here in Lyndhurst are great. They really are. And I think everybody, I agree. I mean, when I've had to have the fire, the police come to my house, they're there. Great. Let's talk about a fact, though. One of the facts is that our population actually is getting older. And the reason I know that is because our 2010 census had us at about 23-24% of our population over 65. It has since inched up. Latest estimates is about 25.4%. We are getting older. So if seniors are going to have more of a need for this, then yes, I would say that we're going to have to address the safety aspect.
Mr. Price, why don't you talk a little bit about home rule and how, are you able to talk about home rule? And it's, no, okay. Home rule, someone asked a question about gun safety. Ohioans for Gun Safety is gathering signatures to put something on the ballot for next year to close the loopholes in the back.
Council issue.
Well, some cities have tried before Ohio has limited home rule to make a rule in their own cities about gun control, and it won't work. It won't work anymore. But would you support such a thing to be on the ballot?
It's way premature to speak about that. I haven't seen any language to that effect. So until that would be disseminated to the cities to understand what...
Well, it would be disseminated across the state. Yeah.
You're talking home rule for Lyndhurst. And until that would be decided at a city level to see what that, let's call it amendment, would look like, or bill, it would be premature to speak on.
Yeah, this will probably be, if it happens, it would be a petition drive to get something on the ballot across the state. Go ahead.
I'd like to speak to it. We definitely need some sensible gun control measures in the country, in the state, and in our city. It's out of control. Nobody has the need to have automatic assault rifles. You know, that needs to end. It's a killing tool. And I think we can start that process from the city level and work our way up. But it needs to get done.
I have heard so many questions as I've walked around, you wouldn't believe it. And the one thing I'll say is you can't prepare for every single question you're going to be asked.
No, definitely not.
And to give you a frame of reference, so I will have to agree with Jeff here that at this moment, I don't think I could really give you a fair answer because I haven't even thought it through and done enough research to give you an idea on gun control. And I can understand the varying positions here. But as I walked around the city of Lyndhurst, I'm going to share one question that I had that tells you what candidates sometimes get a chance to go through. I was asked as I'm walking around the city of Lyndhurst, what's my opinion on the women's right to choose? Now, it's sort of a very similar question to gun control. And you can't prepare except to say the truth how you feel on a topic like that. So you do have to have some chance to really think these things through. And right at the moment, I'm afraid I'd have to agree with Jeff. I'd rather see language and research.
Another example of a home rule issue that will probably be taken away is that the county is attempting to not allow plastic bags in the grocery stores, and the state of Ohio is now working to stop that from happening. Home rule would have given community the right to do that sort of thing, just so you understand that kind of thing. Okay, we have a couple more questions. How will you, now there's a where's your community center?
Over by
By City Hall.
Behind Lyndhurst Park.
Okay. How will you work to have the community center open to the public more often? Is it not open to the public as often? So the questioner must feel that it's not open as many hours in the day as he or she would like to see. Can you just tell us, or do you know, Mr. Price?
I mean, the hours I would assume are like 9 o'clock till 5. We have Meals on Wheels programs. We have all kinds of community programs. Different organizations use the community center to meet in. So it is open to the public. It's open in the evening. Not necessarily just, public walk-in, but there are organizations that book it for meetings, parties, and community events as well.
You know what, just I don't know who asked this question. Would you like to just say who you are?
What question was that?
This is about the community center being open to the public more often. Okay, well, then we're going to let Ms. Thompson talk about it.
One way I think we could help at least one aspect or sector of our community is open it up to teenagers. They have no place to go other than, especially in the winter, have more functions maybe in the community center and do some outreach to our teenagers. There are no programs, to my knowledge, for teenagers that are supervised by the city of Lyndhurst, other than outdoors at the parks. Talking about indoors in the community center.
Dale, you'd want to talk about that at all, the community center? You're not, you don't have to answer each question, but if you like.
The only thing I can say is that was a topic that was never brought to my attention in the 300 to 400 conversations I had as I walked around Lyndhurst. So I'm afraid that I would have to defer. If it's open 9 to 5, that's what I would know at the moment.
Okay, thank you. If you have other questions after this is over and you feel, braver and want to come up and just ask these people questions, go for it. You have to vote for them. You have to vote for 3 of them. It's unfortunate that 2 of them aren't here tonight. Now we have a question about rental property, Mr. Price. Do you favor interior inspections of rental property? Why or why not? Is this an issue in Lyndhurst?
Interior inspections are at the auspices of the individual inviting us in because, of rights. So we have...
Yeah, you better use the mic a little bit better, closer to your mouth.
So doing internal inspections, our building department can inspect outside. There is legislation, and what are our rights as a building department? If we're not invited in, it's up to the owner of the property or the tenant that is occupying the property if they would like us to come in and inspect the interior. So in Lyndhurst, there's about 450 rental units today.
And you go into your building department will go in and inspect if asked.
Only the outside.
We have the right to inspect the outside.
The outside, whenever.
If we're invited in.
Do you have a regular schedule of looking at the outside of rental properties? Yearly.
And they have to file to be
A rental property.
rental property with
Okay.
the building department.
Rental properties, do you have any kind of issue with them and how they're inspected?
Well, as far as I know, and I guess actually the mayor or the council could really answer this, I believe that Lyndhurst has one of the highest percentages of homeowner-occupied houses around the area here. So
Is that true? Okay.
I believe that's the case. And so we're talking about it is a group of houses, but it's not a huge proportion, relatively speaking.
Okay, Ms. Thompson?
Defer.
Okay. I have several other questions, but most of them repeat each other. Is there a question any of you would like to just ask out loud? Go ahead.
I'd just like to clarify that Ohioans for gun safety question. I wrote that question. We have 109 people killed every day in the United States, 40,000 people a year. It's a nationwide problem. It's a state of Ohio. It's not a home rule issue. It's a state of Ohio.
No, I know that. Yeah, but
the House has passed universal background checks in Washington, D.C., and the Senate is sitting on it like everything else they sit on. So we're trying to do it in the states. 21 other states have passed a petition. If anybody would like the petition.
Okay, there's the petition. If you want to sign it.
To have units to close the gun show loophole and the internet sales loophole where 20% of guns are sold. So it's trying to close that loophole. When we want to do that in the state of Ohio.
Okay. No, I know. Well, Lyndhurst can't do it by itself.
2020.
Right. Anyone else? Go ahead.
The last question of 450 rental units, I'd like a breakdown. How many are houses that are empty rental versus apartments, which we could understand?
Yeah, I'm not sure that the candidates can answer this, but can you?
I do not have those statistics. They're probably readily available within our building department.
And I'm concerned about the houses that are rental that are not watched over.
I can talk to you after.
Go ahead.
I really want to ask questions to specific candidates.
Yes, as long as I have to allow the other two candidates to also respond.
Okay. Ms. Thompson, in your opening statement, you mentioned not that you wouldn't always go with the leader. So I guess my question is, how do you, if elected, how do you plan to work with, or really any of the candidates, if you're elected, how do you plan to work with the current council to get things accomplished rather than having a deadlock?
Honestly, compromise is extremely important, so don't get me wrong when I say I'm not going to go follow the leader. What I meant was, one person may say we need to do this. I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to make sure I'm comfortable with that. I'm not just going to follow someone because they said this is the best thing to do. That's what I meant by that. So I can definitely work with people to build a consensus. I've done that. I'll continue to do that, and if I'm elected, I will continue to do that.
So I think that's a good question for all the candidates, actually. Mr. Price, would you like to talk about how you work with others on council if you disagree with them on a certain issue?
Absolutely. So on council and our structure is we have committee meetings, just like I chair public lands and buildings. So if you are an elected official on council, you are assigned to committees. We work through city concerns, challenges based on what those are, based within those committees, and we come to a consensus. That's where all of the research and debate is done. It's not done on the council floor in an open session. The committee meetings are open to the public, and you're free to attend.
Dale, would you like to talk about how you will plan to, if you're on city council, how you would work with others with whom you may disagree?
Absolutely. So I've worked in a lot of companies over the course of my career, big companies from Ford Motor down to entrepreneurial firms. And I'm going to tell you there's politics in every one of them. And I hate politics. So one of the things that I've always learned to do is I'm a fact-based decision maker. And it's very hard for even politicians to argue with the facts. So much like Lora, I think, was indicating, you have to do your research, and if you have your numbers down, you know, I lay the facts out there, and I like to look at things as they really are, not as we wish they were. So I'm a fact-based decision maker. You do have to be objective, and then at some point, you do have to have an independent way of taking a look of, an independent, nonpartisan way of looking what the issue is. And ultimately, I think we're all here to try to get to a win-win deal. We want Lyndhurst to be the best city.
Oh, okay. I'm going to interrupt quickly to tell you again about vote411.org. You can go online, put your own street address, or if you don't like putting in your own street address, put the library's address and, you know, or the city hall address, and you can find out who's on your ballot, what they have to say, their answers to our league questions, and their biographical information. Vote411.org. Also, if you would like to vote absentee and you no longer have to have a reason to do that, we have absentee ballot forms at the desk out here, and we'll help you fill it out, or you can take one and fill it out and mail it into the Board of Elections. I know at my house we got our ballots today. They come out very quickly from the Board of Elections. Also, Roz Peters wants me to remind you that after we break up, after this, you may go get refreshments at our table over there. But we have just about 3 minutes left. Why don't each of you take a minute, you can start, Mr. Price, and just explain again why you want people to vote for you, why you'd want to stay on City Council.
So my reason is, you know, I'm looking for continued support. I'm an active member, not just of council, but as an active member in the community. So it's not just my council activities, it's all of those things that I do, especially like home days. We have shredding coming up this weekend. That's not a council event. Those are things of my own time that I participate in to the benefit of the community. National Night Out, all of the concerts in the parks. It's being an active participant in the community. That's one of the reasons I think I serve well on council, besides the due diligence that I bring from long time serving in my activism.
Thank you. Ms. Thompson?
Every other day, somebody asks me, why do you want to get in politics? And then every other day, I ask myself, why do you really want to get into politics? I was raised watching the Kennedys, Martin Luther King, you know, doing public service. I've actually helped other candidates get elected, but now I've decided this is a time for myself to run, to help the public, to help serve the public, and not serve myself, but serve the public and attend to their needs. I think that's really, really important, that we need more politicians out here and public servants to serve the community and not themselves. That is paramount.
Thank you. And Dale?
I'll definitely have to second Laura's. How many times people say, you're running for council? Like, are you crazy? And I think I've always felt like I can bring a lot to the table. And if you take a look at my professional credentials, we talked about them a little bit. It's really not just the credentials I bring to the table, but I've actually produced time and again in significant manners for so many things. Jeff talked a little bit about being involved in the community. Well, I've been on church council for 20 years, been a church officer 19 years, been a homeowner association chairperson for 6 years. We're all involved in the community in some form or fashion. So I guess as much as anything, I believe that I'm an independent thinker. I am definitely not a person that is just going to vote a rubber stamp way. And I'm going to look at the facts. I'm going to make a facts looking, how can we make Lyndhurst the city that we want it to be in the future? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, the candidates are still here. They're not running out. If you would like to ask your own question, feel free to come up here and ask the candidates. Thank you very much for coming tonight. And I see this will be online. You'll be able to watch this or tell your neighbors to watch the video.